Hey, if you've been sitting on the sidelines wondering how to jump into the IoT managed service opportunity, then this episode of IoT Playbook is designed just for you. Now, my guest, Jonathan Smith, is channel manager for Hyperion Networks, a master agent with multiple carriers. Now, Hyperion has developed multiple plug and play IoT solutions that you can start selling right away. Now, working with a master agent has the least barriers to entry to launch an IoT service that I've ever seen. Plus, you get to leverage the buying power and authority of a US carrier like Sprint or AT&T. That's right. If you sign up with a master agent, you can put the carrier's logo on your business card, giving you instant credibility with your prospects. So, if you've wanted to get started selling IoT managed services, but you weren't sure what to sell or how to sell or support it, then this episode could help you launch your new IoT service quickly. So, just click the link below to get the IoT playbook that will show you how to launch your IoT business quickly, even if you have no experience or startup capital. Hey, this is Mark Smith from IoT Playbook, and I'm here with Jonathan Smith from Hyperion Partners. Welcome, Jonathan.
Hey, Mark. Good to see you.
So, Jonathan and I met in a very interesting way. So, I was speaking at a conference, I believe it was in San Jose. It was a Channel Pro conference. And there was this Q&A part, and this guy in the back stands up, and he points and says, everything that Mark Smith is saying is right. Who is this guy and why is he endorsing me, right? So anyway, I ended up, going through the crowd and meeting him and say, hey, thanks, man. Who are you and why did you say that? And so anyway, you introduced yourself to me and Hyperion Partners and say, hey, I'm a master agent. And at that time, I didn't know what a master agent was. I'm familiar with, a distributor like Tech Data, Ingram, Cynics, and all them. Like master agent, what is that? So anyway, Jonathan, tell us a little bit how your background and about what a master agent is and what Hyperion is.
You bet, Mark. And thanks for the intro. And I remember that day specifically because, we had, I've been in mobility for most of my career. And Hyperion Partners is one of the largest master wireless mobility dealers across the nation. And I remember sitting there seeing you, and I remember it was about 130 people in the audience. And I was sitting there going, oh my gosh, everything he's talking about is so spot on. And it was hard because I knew that the audience, and one of the reasons we chose to attend that was we knew there were a lot of partners there that do cloud-based services, VoIP, and wireline specifically. They don't get into the wireless yet. The IoT, quote unquote, is becoming the big buzzword. And you were up there talking about specific apps, and I wanted to, in the back, it was so hard for me just to sit and not say, okay, when can I pop up? When can I help do that? And then when the Q&A came and I had my opportunity to grab a microphone, I took full advantage because I remember someone raising their hand and saying to you, hey, this stuff's awesome. I have an incredible customer base. I've had them for years. Can I sell it and get paid for it? And the answer, no one knew the answer. And that's where I almost jumped and grabbed the guy. And I finally got the mic and said, absolutely, you can. And by the way, this is the latest and greatest the product portfolio for IoT. Even though it's a wireless and mobility type product, it's out there for all the partners to start selling. And we have hundreds and hundreds of partners now that are beginning to bring that into their business. Those that have had customers for 20, 30 years, they've done everything from their two-way radios through the limit of circuits and cloud and VoIP and everything else. Well, now, and when they're asked about mobility, a lot of time partners just say, well, hey, call your provider or go over here, where now there are solutions in place, not just for handsets and phones as we think of wireless, but with IoT and all that's going on for the partners to be able to be, it's another product in their portfolio for them to sell, and they get comped for it. And so here at Hyperion, that's exactly what we've done. It's a group of us. There are two founding partners that came from the carrier, and then they enclosed us all, and we all came to the company. We all have C-level type experience with the carriers, being ingrained in the carriers, but we also knew we had to be nimble and quick And Hyperion was set up to do things that the carriers, maybe it's not their forte, or it's very hard to take this big tanker and move it so fast, where we could pivot very quickly and bring products and services to the table that maybe the carrier isn't going to carry in their portfolio. Yet it's the carrier who's providing the connectivity and integrating in with these products. And so with the IoT, when you have, and everything you've put out is just incredible, and the world's changing. We know in the next 2 years, we hear 5G, we hear IoT, but the reality of this is it's coming, and everybody's building their network, all the carriers, and it's carrier agnostic, right? All the carriers are doing it, but the reality is this: the equipment that's out there isn't 5G yet, it's coming. You're seeing each of the carriers bring out handsets, bring out hotspots, but it's the boxes and it's the data, it's the IoT, it's these little sensors and all of these things that will be plug and play. And the way we communicate in the world, the way we sell telecom, the way that we monitor, measure, and things we would never think we could do, we'll be able to do. And you say, well, what about coverage? With wireless, people go, well, what about coverage? Well, the reality is they're beginning to get to that coverage point. There's 2 carriers that are merging, and part of the FCC and PUC approval was they have to have 83% of rural America covered inside of 2 years. Now, that's a tall order, but they are already going at it to do that. So that's where then you look at things and how it's going to develop and what it's going to do is really going to dwarf. So at Hyperion, we look and we create incredible partnerships with partners that are very good at what they do on their side of the house, and bringing us in and working together, then we can bring products and solutions that are turnkey, ready to go, that at the drop button a presentation can be done, and they can add this suite of products to their portfolio, like the IoT products, which you've often talked about. And that's what's exciting. There's so much beginning to happen with IoT. So I've thrown up on you, but start firing away. I'm sorry, that was kind of the intro.
Okay, so some of the people may be familiar with, as I mentioned, a distributor, right, who sits in between a manufacturer like Microsoft or Dell or other people, and they buy at a certain volume, and then they provide support and whatnot, for an individual channel partner. You guys also grew up in that sort of in between role between. You got a carrier, a master agent, and then agents. So explain what the role that you guys play and how that impacts the whole IoT world.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you stated, there are many companies out there that produce products and services, but also manufacture the hardware piece of things. And you have big companies that are distributors of those hardware type products that maybe as a partner, I'm not huge, but I can go to those partners and take advantage of the volume buying and maybe get a little bit more aggressive price. Well, what we've done is we have gone to many of those manufacturers of products, whether it be hardware, even software, and others, and said, listen, there's a real play here with Hyperion where we are positioned very well, again, carrier agnostic across the wireless industry. All the carriers have faith. Well, now, how do we take your product that you're selling and monetize it for that partner and say, okay, not only can I buy the equipment or the hardware, but I also can buy the service in a bundled package. I also call it like a solution in a box, right? Where can I go for a one-step process and have it where I can bring the solution to the table, I can activate that solution, I can get compensated for it, but also provide a true end solution for that customer. And so there are many companies that are out there, and Hyperion, we've kind of put ourselves in that niche to where we are the partner, where partners come to us no matter what they do. And we kind of have the agreements across all of the board that we can bring those products and services to the table. Specifically IoT, right? I can bring temp sensors. I can bring the panic buttons. I can bring the technology to the table. It's active, and here are specific applications, and away we go. And that partner now has another product in their portfolio outside of what they were doing to be able to bring to the customer.
So let's say that somebody's watching right now and they're brand new. They don't even have an MSP, right? But they've got a desire. They want to get in on this IoT managed service opportunity.
Yeah.
Because of the volume and things you're buying, they could go in and sell something. And then what all would you guys do for them? And then we could talk about some specific use cases and stuff.
Yeah, here's the best way to put it. There are those out there that, maybe there are certain partners that may be doing, and let's just generically say you're doing 1,000 activations a month. But someone who's doing 20, 30, 40,000 activations a month has a whole lot better leverage and is being compensated much differently than the smaller guy coming in. Well, that's where we become that centerpiece, right? I can take our volume with what we're doing across all boards, across hundreds of partners, and then in turn be able to compensate and be that one person who, that person, as you mentioned, who doesn't know where to go, what to do, has never done anything. They can come right in. We have a program. We walk them through the partnership. We go through it. We set them up. And all of a sudden, they have access to a product portfolio that is substantial, but also activating, a wireless activation that can take them to a whole nother level and be compensated generously for that, and be compensated at a level that typically only the big boys are being compensated at. But that's because of the volume and what they're doing. Right? There are many companies out there right now that you can go to and they say, oh, I can do my wireless through here and do here. And they're absolutely right. But at times, too, you got to look at the compensation standpoint and say, what is the volume they're doing? Because let's not pretend the carriers pay out based off of volume and what's happening. Just like on a wireline and circuits, right? It's a residual value on the wireline side, where on the wireless side, it's more of an upfront. You're paid 45 days in advance, so it helps offset certain things. So, Mark, is that kind of what you're asking? And
yeah, so let's do this scenario. You were talking about one of the hot sellers out there right now is this panic button solution for hotels. And for those that may not know, there was a new regulation that came in requiring hotels that are of certain size, depends on the state and whatnot, but they got to set up these panic button solutions, that hotel safety worker type things. And
Yeah.
so you guys sell a prepackaged solution. I think is it from My Devices, or where did you get your?
Yep, correct. It's in conjunction with My Devices, and we push that out. Our partners are taking it to market. And to your point, the hotel industry, that's one. We're seeing elementary schools, junior highs, high schools begin to implement it, hospitals. It's one of the hottest apps out there going right now.
Really? Okay. And so what it solves the problem. So what problem does it solve? I mean, obviously there's a regulations in some industries, so it's
Right.
helping them comply with that. But beyond that, is it sold based on the safety of the workers or what?
Yeah, all of the above. And let me use a few examples. As you mentioned, across the board, the hotel industry has really all the major chains are implementing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually putting it into different places. Believe it or not, and I did not know this at the time, there is a real big issue at times with the folks that go in and maintain the rooms, whether it's maintenance or cleaning, housekeeping. There has been many issues. So from a safety perspective for the housekeeping community within that hotel chain, they have implemented them on their carts, as well as strategically placed these small little panic buttons throughout the hotel, so guests can, the staff can get to them when there's an issue or going on. That's one piece. You would think, okay, it's at the front desk, and if there's an issue, they do it. But they strategically use this from a safety perspective around housekeeping and things. Shifting gears into the cannabis industry, which you spoke on. A lot of that industry is cash and carry. Right? These distributors, it's cash done. Well, they're being robbed in a lot of places. So they have started putting these panic buttons in across the board in that, not only their facilities, but they're also then tying it in with temp sensors. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So that was another app. From the schools, being our schools and school safety and the awareness. from a national perspective, the schools are beginning to really implement the panic button, not only at the front office level, but strategically throughout the schools for the teachers and the administration and the staff to have access to. And remember, when you press that, it gives a GPS point. So first responders responding know the areas they can do that. So it's really, and it's very, very inexpensive, very easy to implement. And it becomes something that becomes a much bigger deal. Very much like the little "I've fallen and I can't get up" button, which
Right.
we're familiar with, right? It's at a whole nother level now. And it becomes, the way data is being treated and the way it's transmitting, the coverage and how they're using it. That's a lot of what we've done.
Okay. And so if somebody were just to get started and they, they may have a lead, let's say with a hospital or a hotel or whatever. Do you guys help with the sales part or the marketing material, or how would Hyperion help that agent?
What happens? Yeah, that's a great idea. Well, as you come on, when you're a part of the Hyperion Partner family, we have it very buttoned up. It's all automated. The request goes in, and then whether it's the order or request or a strategy session, we bring a group of folks together and they discuss what'll go on, up to and including integration in with the customer. Many times we're being asked to, with the partner, to talk with the customer, or the partner will bring the customer on and we go through the presentation. Mm-hmm. We involve all of the parties, but it becomes a very turnkey. As I said, it's a solution in a box, regardless of the app. They've really kind of taken this IoT piece that you've been talking about forever, and it's a solution in a box, literally, where they brought it to the table and for the customer then to deploy, whether they want to do a couple demos first, which we can help accommodate. We help the partner go through A to Z so it becomes painless. They don't need to be the expert with it, but they have the support around them and behind them to execute, from shipping the product to the solution, to activating it, to driving it. From A to Z, it's all there.
Okay. And because you guys do the higher volumes, if they were to sort of have to architect their own solution, right? Go to this vendor and this one, they may not actually meet the minimums, because of their, they may be a smaller, IoT managed service provider. But by partnering with you, you meet all those minimums, so you can get them right in with the best deals and stuff.
Absolutely. Whether it's 3 units or 3,000. I mean, we're working on right now on 4,500 units that we're getting ready to deploy. So it makes no difference on the size. And that's the beautiful thing about it. And the other thing is, I believe companies don't sell to companies, people sell to people. Creating an environment for your partners that is, they're there, we're here, we do strategy, we talk, they get a live body, people return calls. All those things are what's important in a partnership.
So a guy could literally go from, maybe he's watching this summit, getting inspired and say, I want to get in. And they could go from getting in to actually, selling their first deal and, probably within 30 days, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2 weeks. I mean, and to your point, Mark, I would say anybody that is watching this or doing it, listen, there are solutions that are out there ready to go in the box around IoT. And I know, Mark, we'll probably talk about some, but that are there turnkey, that are just ready for you. And the answer is yes, you can sell it. You don't need to know it. You don't need to be an expert. You don't even need to understand it. You will be surrounded with people that do. But it comes from you. It's your ink. It's your customer. You've built that relationship. Our job is to back you with that solution, but it's as if it's coming from you.
And so they're immediately from the first deal also building up a book of business that has recurring revenue, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You paid a residual, and it's a residual in the IoT space. What's nice is, unlike certain wireless products that pay up front and that's it, in the IoT space, it's a residual that continues for the life of the contract.
Now, you sent me a whole bunch of case studies, a ton, with examples of your agents or partners, whatever, who there's one in particular you wanted to talk about. I think St. Luke's, and I could bring that up if you want.
Yeah,
and
why
just
don't
share this. Yeah, so I'm sharing the screen right now, if you can see that.
let's see here. Yeah, let me do that. I can see it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and
so tell me about St. Luke's.
oh gosh, so St. Luke's is one of the premier hospitals in Kansas City, Missouri, and the IoT applications are becoming very big in the hospital community. Right, it's not just St. Luke's. You have Children's Hospital in Denver. I mean, there's so many different hospitals, but St. Luke's in Kansas City really had a need. And if you scroll down, you'll see here a little bit, Mark. I really defined, go up actually a little bit to the challenge, and let's talk about what their challenge was.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah. So they wanted, in all hospitals, and I never knew this, but medications, all kinds of medications are very much temperature controlled.
Right.
I mean, the flu shots, there's criteria from the government that when flu shots are delivered or certain medications, they have to be kept at a certain level. And what I never understood was there are many hospitals, many doctors' offices, pharmacies, Walgreens, and all of CVS. They actually send people in that do an hourly check with a temperature gun to make sure that the temperature coincides with where it should be. And it has not been an easy automated process. And, they had 2 full-time nurses that would manually go and record temperatures throughout, it was a little over 100 refrigeration units 6 times a day, where they'd go with the little gun, do the reading, and then they have to mark it down. They have to keep the couple records of it all. It was incredible. And imagine, you can imagine the floors and the volume and the space they've had to cover during that time also. So, as we looked at it, we said, how do we bring a solution, specifically an IoT solution, to the table that will do that? So you can go down and you can see the labor costs there. Where it was, I mean, it added up toward the bottom, $233,000.
Yeah, 233.
Yeah, and that's substantial when you think about it, right? So what was the solution? So as I said, we deployed the IoT in the box, and it's a commercial refrigeration sensor that would log the temperatures, humidity, all kinds of things around what was going on within that refrigerator. And each one is uniquely different. And you say, well, Jonathan, how, what? Well, with IoT, there are these little sensors, and no lie, they have a battery in there. The battery will last about 5 years. They actually zip tie in with the little plastic zip ties on a shelf in each of the refrigerators. So when you go in and you put that little monitor in, and you put it in 100 refrigerators, you have one server that is set up, and that server is communicating, that little box is communicating with those 100 sensors. Now, you may say, well, Jonathan, how many sensors will a server see? Right? Or what will happen? Well, it's using what we call LoRa technology, and so it's broadcasting through walls. Quite honestly, we have one application. We put over 487 sensors on one server. And by the way, the server is only $29.99 a month, right?
Yeah, so it's not like a server like they're used to, with like that. It's more of a LoRaWAN gateway, right? So it's a smaller device that is even lower powered itself and can be attached either via wirelessly or wired, I guess, right?
That's right. It does both. And for $29.99 a month, it's both wireline and wireless failover. It's just a small little box. It's a little server with an antenna. And that's where those little sensors in each of the refrigerators are communicating. And you'll see where you're highlighting here, the IoT box helped reduce costs associated.
Right.
From day one, more than 99% while delivering, an incredible ROI. You can barely go through it. But what happens is, with all these little sensors in there, instead of sending a nurse around and the labor intensiveness, they automatically have an application. It was web-based. They could see all of those devices. and that you can set the metrics, kind of like a geotab. You could set up what you want it to be. So if it crosses that threshold and raises above 32 degrees or 28 degrees or 64 degrees, it will automatically alert you. And in this case, they actually had multiple refrigerators that had to be at separate temperatures. And if it raised above that at all 24/7, it automatically sent a notification someone could do it. What was even more interesting was being able to give them that access in a remote environment, right off site, or certain people to have it on a handset as well as a computer. They could do that also.
So the business model is they come into a hospital and talk about their cold storage needs, and as that helping them implement the to comply with the JCO, as it's called,
Yeah.
Compliance. They then then they can work with your guys to help pre-sales engineering. Hey, here's the money we need. Here's where they would go. And basically, I mean, you guys take care of stuff. I mean, you could ship this stuff to them. Like, who would install that? Would it be installed by the end users themselves, by the partner, by you guys? Does that depend?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's one of the best questions. First, it's so simple. It actually is just that it's shipping the box that has the server gateway in it and a sensor, right? And each box now, and then you can order all the sensors you want. But when that box comes, you actually take it. There are barcodes on the sensor and the gateway. You barcode those, and it automatically takes you into the app. You set the app up, and inside of 10 minutes, you're up and running. So many of the end user customers, it's so simplified. Their IT folks do it, or they do it themselves. Many of my partners go and do it for them, but it's literally that simple. We've made it where it's ship a solution in the box, but they can barcode it and activate it immediately. There's no this setup, or I have to write code or worry about this. It's totally turnkey.
And so then the client gets billed by who?
The client is billed, and it depends on the carrier. It can be by the carrier themselves, right? Maybe they already have, they can be billed by the carrier, or we also have the program where the partner may want to do a white label type program, and the partner's wanting to do the white labeling of that product and bill. So it's a combination of both. They have a choice to do that, but most of them, the carrier is billed and sent to the bill.
So in other words, a guy starts off with you, and is their business card their own business, or is it literally say like Sprint or AT&T? I mean, where they're representing like the carrier almost.
Yeah, no, it's their own business card.
Yeah.
Right. It's their business. It's their customer. Nothing in that changes whatsoever. Think of it this way. All the products and solutions they've been able to offer their customers right as of now, they now are adding to their portfolio of things they can add under their ink, and away they go. Some of those may be billed directly from the carrier at times, which the partner says, hey, you're going to be billed directly, but here's the solution. And they're the catapult for that solution. So,
but for those guys getting started out, this is great because they go in, they sell something, and then, the product is shipped, they're billed, and then they just can get a monthly commission.
That's correct.
Yeah. So it's a real easy.
And the IoT stuff, it's a residual, right? So just like they've been used to, it's a residual, and it's for the life of the contract. So the more units you're doing, obviously, the more residual.
So, and you're getting paid not only because if it was a wireless connection to, like, for example, you go into a hospital and they, for whatever reason, say, hey, we don't want you on our normal network, you can actually do a wireless. So now you're getting paid off the wireless connection, and you're getting paid off of the monthly recurring on the sensors and the gateway and whatever else is there.
Yep, all of the above. And that's the beautiful thing with this. Most hospitals, many of the Wi-Fis are taxed now, or they're pressed. This isn't running on their backbone. This is running on a wireless backbone, as well as using this LoRa technology to communicate internally. And it's just a pure residual monthly, depending on the number of sensors that are deployed, you receive just a monthly compensation.
Now, if you are already an MSSP, right, and one of your specialties is cybersecurity and the whole network, you can use this either as an add-on to your normal bundle, or you can use this as a gateway, so to speak. Get in, solve a particular line of business problem like cold storage or whatever, and then further get into their network if that's your skill set. So whether you're
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. And I think you bring up a great point. Let me share an example with you. Um, there's a company in the Seattle area that all they do, their whole core business is commercial refrigeration. So when you're and they have about 17 techs, they're the big boys up in Seattle. When your refrigerator breaks, whether it's a small restaurant or a large commercial school cafeteria, hospital, you call this company and they send one of their techs out to fix it. They actually found out about us, came and talked to us and said, listen, we're very good at fixing, and it's the greatest thing in the world. We go and fix their refrigerators all the time, but we'd love another revenue stream or a product to offer them. And we are very interested in the temperature sensors. Lo and behold, to make a long story short, this repair company, every time they go and repair a refrigerator, they are talking to them about the sensors and temperature sensors and all of that, because when they're repairing a refrigerator, typically, potentially, these small businesses could have lost hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars in food, product, whatever it is, and then they're repairing it to get them back up, where had they had the sensor, it would have avoided that. So this company now is actually added to their portfolio and is selling that temperature solution along with their repair functionality.
Okay. So if you already got healthcare clients, then adding a healthcare IoT solution is, you've already done the hard work of getting the client. This is a perfect add-on and gets you into more of the line of business than around the periphery of the network.
That's right, Mark. It's another product in the portfolio, because you're our partners, they have their core business. They've been doing things, hospital, setting up their network, their mesh network, whatever. Now it's another portfolio to bring to the table for them and another solution.
Okay. So how would someone get started with you guys if they wanted to do it? And maybe I'll try to make some access to some of these case studies just to give them ideas about what other stuff is out there and selling. But what do they do to get started with you guys?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mark. I personally will have conversations with each and every one of them. I can answer the questions inside out, but I would say it comes directly to me from representing Hyperion, and I'll sit and we'll walk through the partnership program. We'll talk about the details, and if it's something to continue, then we absolutely can go down that route, and we can do that. So it can just be routed directly to me.
Yeah, because one of the advantages I see is you can solve part of the chicken and egg problem. Like sometimes people, they may approach a new client and they don't have any case studies because they haven't done that thing, but getting in with you, they can literally say, hey, here's a case study from something that we've done as as part of your agent network. They can say, my company has done these things, and to hand them literally case studies that they can use for their own business to win some new business.
Mark, you're exactly right. And what I shared with you, I'd shared 12 case studies amongst 12 different industries. A couple of the industries are similar, but it goes even farther than the temperature sensing and things. I mean, I can get in, I have a company doing rat traps, mouse traps in food warehouses. Every time that thing triggers with a trap, it lets them know, because they have to monitor those things. From oil and gas, as you mentioned, that's another big industry that's beginning to fall. Grain silos, monitoring and measuring liquid, and all of those things. There are many sensors that are out there that are available today to be able to do exactly what you're talking about, the IoT pieces of it. So it's endless.
And of course, just solving the communication issues, right? Where they may have focused in on all the wired local area network side and kind of let somebody else deal with the wireless stuff. Now they can actually say, hey, I can solve your wireless issues too. That's remote locations that are,
Yeah, that's exactly right. And just recently, I was approached by a company, a partner that does big things with cities and county governments. And they do their cloud networks, their mesh networks, and all of those things. And at the city's request to them, because they've been managing their telecom for years, they're now being asked, we want to expand the portfolio, but in a wireless where the mesh network won't reach out that way. What can we do? And it's monitoring street lights and smart lights. When no one's in the parking lot, why pay the bill? They can dim down. And so there's many things that we're doing from an integration standpoint with that partner to where it becomes wireless, becomes part of the portfolio too.
Okay, great. All right. Well, hey, we'll put links to your contact info and site and case studies below this video. And anyway, Jonathan, I super appreciate you taking the time to explain, especially for some of those new, what a master agent does and how you can help, and especially those that are looking to get in and maybe feel like, oh, how can I get in as a solopreneur? I got to become an IT MSP first, and actually they can jump into IoT right away with support from a company like yours.
Yeah, Mark, I appreciate it. And, I just would say, look, there's so much out there and it gets so confusing, but our partners are experts in their business, and our job is to be their partner, is to provide strategy and applications, solutions that will enhance their portfolio. And listen, no question is dumb. If you don't know it, that's okay. You just ask. But that's how we operate. We're people. And we have fun when we do it. We enjoy what we do, and we just create an incredible partnership. And I always say our partners now, you become lifelong friends with them because it's something that this will continue and continue, but we have fun doing it.
Great. Well, thanks again, Jonathan. Appreciate it.
Mark, thanks for having me.
All right, great.